Live from Lively Studio South. Here we are again in Tucson, Arizona, and we've got another great reader for you. Who's our reader today?
Anna!
And Anna, what story are you going to read?
Well, it's Monday, so we have a Moose Monday. The Big Race.
Take it away, Anna.
The Big Race by Morgan Matthews. Summer was an exciting time in the forest. It was then that the animals held their yearly spring contest, the Great Games. The Great Games were very special. Animals came from near and far to take part in them. Burly bears lumbered down the mountains. Fleet jackrabbits left their grassy meadows, and out of the forest came squirrels, raccoons, and animals of all shapes and sizes. One by one, everyone came to take part in the Great Games. The sport contest had many events. There were many different kinds of races. There were tests of strength, like the shot put. There were jumping, swimming, and other sports too. All of the animals tried hard to win. Beavers and otters swam their fastest. Quick foxes ran their swiftest. And white-tailed hares jumped their highest. Why? Because the player who turned in the most outstanding performance became the champion of the forest for the year. And to be named champion of the forest was the greatest honor of all. Champion of the forest, sighed Manny the Moose as he walked through the woods. Manny the champion. I like the sound of that. Manny Moose smiled and dreamed about winning the Great Games. But Manny really wasn't much of a player. He wasn't strong, and he couldn't jump high or run fast. To tell the truth, this moose was a bit clumsy. He was always tripping, slipping, or stumbling. Because Manny was so clumsy, some of the other animals made fun of him. Manny didn't like that at all, and he wanted to prove he could be a winner too. I'll run races, said Manny. I'll swim, I'll jump. I'll show everyone I'm not a clumsy moose. Manny was so busy daydreaming he didn't watch where he was going. He tripped over a tree root. Thump! Hooves over horns he went. Whoops, he yelled as he tumbled. Over and over he rolled. Down a hill he went. At the bottom of the slope he bumped into a tree stump. Thump! The stump happened to be at the gates of the Great Games. Other animals began to laugh. What's that? A funny-looking boulder? Teased Bruce the bear. It's furry and has horns like a moose, chuckled Hairy Hare. And up walked Coach Owl. He was in charge of the games. Are you all right? The coach asked as he helped Manny to his feet. Manny rubbed the big lump that had swelled up between his antlers. I'm fine, he replied. Am I too late to be in the games? There he is, rolling down the hill. Did you hear that? Asked Franny Fox. Franny was one of the fastest runners in the forest. Manny wants to be in the Great Games. Maybe he thinks there's a clumsy contest, chuckled Bruce Bear. Bruce was very big and strong. I'm not joking, replied Manny. I want to be in the games. He looked at Coach Owl. Can I? Slowly, Coach Owl nodded. Yes, he replied. What sport did you practice for? Manny made a silly face. Well, he admitted, I didn't practice for any, but I'll find an easy one that I can win. A short time later, the games began. Manny decided to try shot put. Throwing a round metal ball didn't look too hard, but Manny didn't know how heavy that ball was. Big Bruce Bear went first. He picked up the heavy ball to his shoulder. Then he tossed it with all of his might. Whoosh! Through the air it flew, and it went very far. Very good, Bruce, said Coach Owl. Manny was next. He bent over, picked up the ball. Was it ever heavy? He groaned as he slowly lifted it off the ground. I can't hold it, Manny sputtered, and he let go of the ball. Clunk! And it fell right on his toe. Ouch! He screamed, hopping on one toe. It was quite a sight. Ouch. Manny decided that shot put was not as easy as it looked. Next, he tried the diving contest. He watched Otto Otter dive gracefully into the water. "I can do that," said Manny as he climbed up the diving board. The diving board was wet and slick. Manny took one step and slipped. "Oh no, not again!" he cried, and splash! Manny did the biggest belly whopper ever seen. Everyone laughed at the sight of the clumsy moose. Ooh. But Manny did not give up. He tried to race against Franny Fox. She was fast and Manny was slow. Franny won the race before Manny took 3 steps. The jumping contest was not easy for Manny either. Everyone clapped when Hairy Hare jumped. They did not cheer when Manny tried to jump and fell flat on his face. Poor Manny Moose couldn't do anything right. He stumbled his way through one game after another. At long last, Coach Owl had a talk with Manny. "I don't think you should take part in any more games," said Coach. Manny felt hurt. "I wanted to win at something just once," he said. "I wanted to know what it feels like to be a winner." Coach Owl nodded. "I think you can be a winner," answered the coach. "You may be clumsy, but you have one thing a winner needs." Manny's face brightened. "What is that?" "Determination," replied Coach Owl. "A true winner never gives up." He paused a minute. "But you are trying to become a winner in the wrong way." Manny was confused. "What do you mean?" he asked. Coach Owl explained. You can't become a winner by going from one thing to another, looking for an easy win." "What should I do then?" asked Manny. "Find a game you like and put all your energy into it," said Coach Owl. "Practice that sport until you are very good at it, and I know just the race for you." "You do?" Manny exclaimed. "Which one?" Coach Owl walked away. "Follow me," he said. He led Manny to where a special race was about to begin. It was called the Big Race. The race went over hills, through woods, and around the mountain. "This is the biggest race of all," said Coach Owl. "It's a long, hard race over many miles. To win the big race, a runner needs determination." There's the animals getting ready. Bang! A gun sounded and the big race began. Manny watched as the runners started into the woods. In silence, the moose waited while the long race was run. Hours later, a tired Rob Rabbit crossed the finish line to win the race. It was then that Manny turned to Coach Owl and spoke. "I would like to try this race," he said. "What do I have to do?" Coach Owl looked at Manny. "Practice, practice, practice," he replied. "If you work hard and run every day, you will be ready for the big race next year." "I will be ready," Manny promised. "Good," said Coach Owl. "I'll write down some ideas for you to follow when you practice." The next day, Manny Moose began practicing. He followed the suggestions Coach Owl gave him. He stretched his muscles before running and wore proper clothes. Then off he went. It was a beautiful day, and the birds were singing. "This is more like fun than work," Manny said as he ran along at a steady pace. Manny ran around the pine forest and then home. He took his time and stopped when he felt tired. He didn't run too far or too fast. And when he was done, he felt tired, but good. Got his running clothes on. As time passed, Manny got stronger and ran farther. Of course, he was still a bit clumsy. Once while running, he ran around the lake and slipped and fell in. Another time, he started to daydream and bumped into a tree branch. But the more he ran, the less clumsy he seemed to be. And most important of all, Manny liked what he was doing and felt good about doing it. Manny kept on running as the seasons changed, and it wasn't always fun. Some days it was really hard work. "I don't feel like running today," said Manny. He looked out of his cozy house and saw snow on the ground. "But I will do it anyway. To be a winner, you have to keep trying, and I want to win." Finally, by summer, Manny could run the full distance of the big race, and he wasn't clumsy anymore. In fact, he felt like a champion. "Now, at long last, I'm ready for the big race," said Manny, and ready he was. "Welcome back," said Coach Owl when Manny arrived at the great games. "Have you been practicing?" "Yes," Manny replied. "I'm ready to run the big race." "Good," said Coach Owl. "Follow me. The race is about to begin." When the other runners saw Manny, they laughed. "Beating Manny will be easy," Chester Chipmunk chuckled. "Rob Rabbit, last year's champion, didn't even give Manny a second thought." Neither did most of the runners. They didn't know about the new Manny. Bang! The race began. Much to everyone's surprise, Manny didn't stumble at the start. He ran along, taking graceful strides. At the first turn in the forest, he was still with the others. When the runners came out of the woods, Rob Rabbit broke away from the others. One by one, the runners followed. Chester Chipmunk and Manny were left to bring up the rear. There they go. "I don't like this," gasped Chester. "This moose is right behind me." Chester was worried. He did not want to be passed by a silly moose. Chester kept looking back at Manny. He should have been looking ahead, and crash! He bumped right into a tree. Manny stopped. "Are you all right?" he asked Chester. Chester rubbed his aching head and nodded. Away ran Manny Moose. There were many miles to go. The race was far from over. Manny ran and ran. He didn't think about winning. He just tried to do the best he could. Soon he saw Bill Badger sitting on a rock. Bill had dropped out of the race. He looked exhausted. "I tried to go too far too fast," Bill puffed as Manny passed. "I can't run anymore." The warm summer sun had heated up as the race continued, and it made running difficult. But Manny did not slow down. He passed runner after runner, and finally, near the lake, he caught up with Randy Raccoon. There's Bill, all tired. "The race is half over," Randy sighed, "but it's too hot to run anymore." Manny didn't reply. He just took step after step. "Finishing this race isn't important," Randy said. "I'm going swimming instead." And he stopped running and jumped into the cool lake. "I started this race," said Manny, "and I'm going to finish it. I may not win, but I am not a quitter." And after he went, away he went, leaving Randy to splash in the lake. A bit later, Manny saw Willie Weasel. Soon the two were running side by side. "How many runners are ahead of us?" asked Manny as he took a deep breath. "Only one," Willie replied. "It's Rob Rabbit, and he has a big lead." On and on they ran. At the top of the hill, they spied Rob Rabbit far ahead. He's way up there. "We'll never catch him," said the Weasel. "I know a secret shortcut. If we take it, we can pass him." Manny gave Willie a dirty look. "That's cheating," he scolded. "Winning only counts if you do it fair and square." And Manny ran faster. He left Willie far behind. "You'll be sorry," Willie shouted as he turned into his shortcut. But the shortcut was no good. The path was muddy. Splat! Into a mud puddle he fell. The race was over for him. In the mud he went. Meanwhile, Manny kept up a quick pace, and all of his hard work was paying off. Slowly but surely, he was catching up to Rob Rabbit. Manny ran, and suddenly he was right behind Rob. "Faster!" Manny gasped. "I have to run faster." Stride by stride, Manny Moose moved ahead. Before long, Rob and Manny were neck and neck. Ahead was the finish line, and both runners moved as quickly as they could. Faster and faster and faster went Rob Rabbit. Faster, faster, faster ran Manny Moose. Never before had anyone seen such a finish to the big race. Who would win? With one final burst of speed, Manny moved ahead, and by a nose, he crossed the finish line in front of Rob Rabbit. "Manny Moose wins!" cried Coach Owl. "Manny wins the race!" Everyone clapped and cheered. He won. For the first time in his life, Manny was a winner, and it was a great feeling. Manny went up to Rob Rabbit. "You ran a great race," he said. And Rob smiled. "You did too," he replied, "and you deserve this win." "Manny Moose, he's the champion of the forest," shouted Franny Fox. "Yes," called Bruce Bear, "Manny's our champ." Rob Rabbit and Harry Hare agreed. Soon all of the animals were cheering Manny as the champion of the forest. "You did it," said the coach to the moose. Manny smiled proudly. "Even a clumsy moose can be a winner if he believes in himself and works hard," Manny said. And that's how Manny the Moose won the big race and became champion of the forest. So that's the story of the big race and Manny the Moose. So if you have something that you're wanting to achieve, if you have determination, and what is that? If you believe in yourself and work hard, you're going to do a great job. Keep it up, everyone. Love you.